Hey, I think we're good. Let me start sharing my screen real quick and then we can start. Let's see. I hope everyone can see my screen. Can anyone give me a thumbs up? All right, perfect. Great. All right. Hi everyone. Welcome to today's career exploration session. And then I'm just sorry, I just thought someone joined in. Never mind. Hi everyone. My name is Ananya, and I am the Career Services Officer of Access and Inclusion here at Lakehead University. And today I'm working along with my team to present to you this career exploration series. So if you're unsure about what to do after graduation, this is the place to be. These sessions give you a chance to, explore different career paths and hear from the industry professionals directly and start making connections. So just to get your foot into the door, and I see we have folks joining us again. All righty, great. Now, today we're focusing on careers in applied and life sciences, and we're joined by professionals who will each share insights into their organizations and their own career paths. Um, I will, all righty. Now, just to let you know, this event is part of our career exploration series. So if today sparks your interest, I encourage you to check out the upcoming sessions as well. You can register for the same using the My Success portal, and we also have a workplace tour coming up at the end of the month, which also has registrations open now. So feel free to jump on that opportunity as well. And then we also have what is the Career Exploration Toolkit, which is a self-guided resource to help you map out your options and explore labor market. I will be sending out both the recording as well as this toolkit to all the registrants after this meeting, but you can also check it out at Careers and Co-op official website under resources. All right. So just to get started, today we have guests from two different places. We have oh, all right. We have Marta Sachin, who is the Public Outreach Educations Officer from Parks Canada. And then we have Debbie Singh from Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital, who is the President, People Strategy and Chief Human Resources Officer. And she is also accompanied by Sarah Kitchen from Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital, and she is the Director of People Services and Operations. All right. So to officially get started, each speaker will have just over 10 minutes to talk about their field a little bit and to give, insights to all our guests. And after that, we will open the floor for questions. In the meanwhile, while the presentations are going on, if anyone has, some ongoing questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will get to them at the end. Okay, so Martha, I know that you have a presentation here. I have it all set. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the video that is Parks Canada video talking about different jobs you could potentially find yourself in. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go to my slideshow.
Here we go.
Imagine this was your office, that this was your home, and this was your morning commute. Sounds amazing, right? Now, what if we told you your work could make a real difference for people and the planet? What if work and life actually felt balanced? What if your passion became your profession? Well, Parks Canada's hiring, And if you're still watching, it's a sign you should probably apply. At Parks Canada, our job is to protect Canada's special places and share them with people. And not to brag, but you'd be joining quite possibly the best team in the country. We're looking for scientists, project coordinators, historians, maintenance workers, engineers, and everything in between. It's the perfect place to start your career. And to be clear, you could be paid to do all of that from here. Apply today.
All right. I'll officially hand it over to you, Marta.
Thank you so much. So I don't know if all the sound came through on that, but that's okay. Like there were definitely you could hear the basic idea of it, and there are many more videos online if you're interested in just doing a little bit more research on that. So I can share my screen now. Oh, I think you have disabled it says disabled attendee sharing screen.
Let me see real quick. I think you should be able to share it. Okay, does it work now?
Yes, perfect. So I'm just going to share it. Perfect. So can everybody see that and hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone. My name is Marta Sauchin, and I am a public outreach and education officer at Parks Canada, meaning that I connect and engage with the public outside of the sites and places that Parks Canada stewards. So I'd like to begin by stating that Parks Canada respectfully acknowledges that Indigenous peoples have been caretakers of Turtle Island for millennia. I am currently situated on the traditional homelands of the Kanien'kehá:ka Nation. Jogjoge, or Montreal, is historically known as a gathering place for many First Nations, including Kanien'kehá:ka of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, Huron-Wendat, Abenaki, and Anishinaabe. I recognize that the Indigenous people nurtured the lands and waters of this region for many generations and will continue to do so for generations to come. I'm so grateful to be able to meet with you on this land today. So I'm here to speak with you today about the Parks Canada organization, about some of the student positions that are offered, and some of the future opportunities that you may consider going forward. Parks Canada is the oldest national park service in the world. We protect and present some of Canada's natural, beautiful places, as well as Canada's historical treasures. The places administered by Parks Canada across the country include 171 National Historic Sites, 47 national parks, 5 national marine conservation areas, and 1 national urban park. And just to show you a little bit about the sites that Parks Canada stewards on this map, so you can kind of see the different sites all across Canada from coast to coast to coast. We have many different national parks and national historic sites, and waterways are a part of that as well. So there are definitely opportunities all over Canada if you wish to explore different parts of Canada. A little bit about me and my background. I actually have a degree in biology, specifically environmental and life sciences. And then I did my master's in education. So I was actually a teacher for a while, teaching science and in the environment and lots of different things. And I started at Parks Canada in 2022 as a heritage presenter at Thousand Islands National Park. And now I'm in the outreach and education officer role for the Eastern Sites of Ontario. And I'd say my favorite work story has to be saving this large snapping turtle from the road and being able to share that moment with the public. So this is a real snapping turtle. This is not it looks kind of like really, but it was a beautiful moment, and the people got to learn how to handle them and how to safely help them across the road. So, did you know Parks Canada is one of Canada's best employers? According to Forbes magazine 2025, we are on the list of Canada's best employers. And it might be for some of these reasons. So, there are lots of reasons to work for Parks Canada. We have great work life balance with flexible work arrangements at many locations. We have great training and professional development, beautiful work locations, future job opportunities, diverse and inclusive workplaces. Contribution to public service is also one of the reasons. So I wanted to show you some of the pictures of different sites where you could consider working. Now, keep in mind there's a wide variety of sites all over Canada where you can work, but these are some of the local areas. So these are some of the local national parks and marine conservation areas next to the Aurelia region, if you're around there. So you have the national park like Georgian Bay Islands National Park, Bruce Peninsula National Park, even Thousand Islands National Park, not too far away. If you're closer to the Thunder Bay region, we have the Puckasaw National Park, as well as Lake Superior National Marine Conservation Area. So now we can get into a little bit more of the career opportunities that you may find at Parks Canada. So there are a variety of opportunities out there depending on what you're interested in. Now, if you're coming from a life and environmental science degree, you might be more interested in environmental conservation, restoration, and management. But perhaps you'd like to join the fire team crew or work in human resources or multimedia creation or engineering. So there's lots of different places where you can apply to and where you can go with your career. So I wanted to highlight this position. This is the visitor experience position. So a lot of these positions include student day use area attendant, entry gate and visitor attendant, and campground attendant. So this is a really interesting opportunity because it really helps you to connect with the site a lot more. You can explore the trails, you can perhaps work on a boat, you could welcome visitors at the day use areas. And it's really a fun, fast-paced environment, providing quality visitor experience to the thousands of visitors. Now, perhaps you're more interested in leaning towards the life and environmental sciences position. So there are lots of different opportunities, one of which is a heritage presenter or park interpreter. Perhaps environmental conservation is more your speed. Perhaps fire team, trail crew, archaeology and history. So there are a variety of different positions where you may be interested in. So I wanted to highlight the heritage presenter and park interpreter position. So this is for people that are really lifelong learners about a subject. They're really curious and they love to ask questions. They're responsible for assisting in public education programming, including presentation, research, writing, and development. And they really engage with the public and create a really great visitor experience. Another position you might be interested in is working as a resource conservation technician. So these are people that use their skills from their degrees and they use that knowledge to complete field work. So they will hike, paddle, and climb beautiful locations to perform scientific research and conservation. They have a base in science and complete duties like data collection and entry, invasive species management, species identification and monitoring, analysis and evaluation. And this really depends on the site. So different sites have different projects that are ongoing. And so you might find yourself doing a lot more data collection or a lot more species identification. It really depends on the site. And there could be additional duties to this as well. So I wanted to show you a couple of pictures of our students and our resource conservation staff in the field. So here they might be doing some sort of a survey. Here they're probably installing or taking out a turtle nest box to protect turtle nests. Here is part of our egg incubation project where we incubate turtle eggs and release them into the wild once they've hatched. So the opportunities really are endless. Your career can grow and change at Parks Canada. So you might start in one thing and then maybe feel more like trying something else out. So it's a really interesting kind of organization to be a part of because you really can try out different things and put yourself in a situation where you feel most comfortable. So now getting into the nitty gritty of the application process. So if you'd like, you could take a picture of this or you're saving it for later. So that's great. At the top right, you'll see a URL and a QR code right below it that links directly to this application website. So this is for the 2025 summer jobs inventory. If you're interested in applying for this summer, it's really easy to apply. You go onto this website and you apply in less than 15 minutes by creating your account, telling us about yourself, uploading a resume. Then you select your 10 work locations you'd like to work near, then 10 job types as well. The application deadline is May 1st, so just keep that in mind. So this is specifically for the 2025 summer jobs. Now, this isn't the only way you can apply to Parks Canada. The other ways, you can go onto the GC Jobs website. So GC Jobs stands for Government of Canada Jobs. And you can type in your location, that you're a student, perhaps the Parks Canada, selecting different filters. And then you can find yourself in perhaps the resource conservation. They're looking for resource conservation students in Lake Superior National Marine Conservation Area this summer. So you can definitely apply through their website as well. Perhaps you'd like to work on the waterways and join the lock operations. There's something in the Trent Severn waterway as well as the Rideau Canal. So these are just a couple of the opportunities now. And then the last way you can apply is very interesting. It's really just to go to the site specifically. So let's say you wanted to work at Georgian Bay Islands National Park. Well, then you can go on to Georgian Bay Islands website and you'll see different job opportunities. So for example, this one is listed. This is the External Relations and Finance Administration student hiring for this summer. The deadline is March 15th for this one. So if you'd like to apply, you can. But even just to go onto their website, and if there's no jobs that are posted, you could just email the site directly. You could say, hi, I'd like to apply for a position. Is it possible I can send your CV? Or if you have any additional questions about that site, then you can always send them an email. The last thing I wanted to mention was the employment equity. Now, Parks Canada really values employment equity. And so on your application, when you go into the website or on your application, you will find a form entitled Employment Equity Self-Declaration. And so this is a form used to identify and declare yourself as a member of an equity group. So these equity groups include women, Indigenous peoples, persons with disabilities, and members of visible minorities as well. It's all according to the Employment Equity Act. This is a voluntary declaration, so you don't have to do it, but it does give employment equity group members access to tailored programs, mentorships, and networks. It helps the public service represent Canada's diversity, and it allows public service to identify and eliminate barriers when hiring members of equity groups. So just a note on that. And that's it for me. We hope that you might find yourself joining us at Parks Canada. We look forward to seeing you. Sharing now.
Thank you so much for that, Marta. Now, without waiting further, I will hand it over to Debbie and Sarah from Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital. Over to you guys.
Thank you so much. And I think Sarah is going to bring up a slide deck that we will walk the group through, if that makes sense. And Marta, thank you so much. I think Sarah and I very much want to apply to work for Parks Canada. Yeah, as with everyone else. So I think our presentation is very geographically different. So Parks Canada is all across Canada, and we're here to talk about a small community Hospital, Ontario, which some of you might know quite well. So one of our taglines is come for the job, stay for the team, come for the job, stay for the community. That one resonates for us as well. That just gives you a snapshot of our hospital building, at least one of it, one piece of it. So here's a few things of what we can offer, much like Parks Canada, not too different. A very professional environment that you can work in, a collaborative atmosphere that has an emphasis on teamwork. Teamwork and collaboration actually happens to be one of our values. A commitment to continued learning and professional development. So we're very fortunate that in our people services team, we have a number of different programs for professional development that can be accessed because lifelong learning is something that we definitely want to support and encourage. We do have an open and transparent communication culture. We use a just culture framework. And so what we want to ensure is that people are able to have a voice, their voice can be heard. So we've worked really hard to make sure that we maintain that in the hospital. Diverse workforce, as that continues to be with the ever-changing population in Aurelia and the growth that we've seen. We talk about promoting work-life balance, or what I like to call work-life integration. It's really important that as we come to work every day, we can see ourselves in the work, but we can find ourselves in the peace as well. So making sure that you're taking time out for yourself in the spirit of wellness is really important and something that you should, and we want you to integrate into your day. Corporate perks, everyone has them. Some of them are different, so we offer those as well. We talked about some education. We do have employee recognition programs as well. We have a really cool one called Soldiers Salutes. So that is actually peer-to-peer recognition, where once a week, we actually highlight all of the individuals who have been quote unquote saluted based on their work and contribution. You can see 30 to 50 of those every single week. And what a lovely thing it is to see our peers recognizing the work and the value in others in terms of their contributions. Competitive salary and benefits package. Again, we are a hospital, so we're governed under certain standards in terms of compensation. But certainly in terms of our benefits package, it becomes more and more inclusive every day in terms of mental wellness options, different types of services that you can access as well. And at the end of the day, equal opportunities for growth and development. I always say, and I think as Marta said it as well, when you come to Soldiers, you don't come for a job. You're actually here for a career. So you might not get your dream job the first time you enter the hospital, but you're one step closer to figuring out what that can be. And so we are very, very big on internal mobility and making sure that our team members with their growth have opportunities to develop themselves so that they stay for a long time. So should have told you a bit about the hospital at the beginning, but here you go. So we are old at about 114 years. And if you've ever had the chance to look at our building or go through it, you would probably say the same. This is the time where us, as well as others, are actually really looking for a future hospital. We know that the government granting is tough right now, but we are on that list and we're very hopeful that that will happen for us sometime soon. At this point that the slides were written, it was a $140 million budget. We're actually at about $190 million in our revenue. And we actually now have approximately 213 beds in terms of our facility. So we are considered a mid-size acute care hospital. So who works within the walls? Oh, over 1,600 staff. And 275 credentialed staff. So we separate that out in terms of our physicians, our dentists, our midwives, etc. Usually around 300 to 350 volunteers a year you can find throughout the building. And if you take a look at what we do in a year, that just gives you a capture of over 53,000 emergency visits will happen, 11,000 surgical procedures, and over 1,100 births, if you can believe that, in that busy, small, but mighty hospital. So that's just a little bit about the hospital. Before I turn it over to Sarah, I guess I would share with you that Aurelia is a really cool place to be. I was actually born in this hospital a zillion years ago, if you could believe that. I left to go away to school and to live my life and work, and I came back to retire. And what a great blessing it was that the head of HR job came up, and I thought, you know what, if fate was meant to be, it'll be. And guess what? 4 years later, I get the pleasure of loving what I do and loving where I do it. And that's a great combination. And as you saw with Marta's pictures, I mean, imagine that that could be your reality for Parks Canada. Similar to soldiers, it might just look and feel a little bit different. So Sarah, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Debbie. So I'm going to take us through more of the technical pieces as it relates to opportunities here at Soldiers. So we took a look at your Lakehead website and identifying the careers that would be suitable for those of you in your applied life science courses. So we see that there's the health sciences, government agencies, bioeconomy, as well as your postgrad research and allied health science areas. So we've identified a few careers that we do have at Soldiers that, you know, with your education would be a potential match and something that you could consider in joining Soldiers. The other piece, these are technical or designated positions, but I'd also like to highlight our opportunities through student placements, our volunteer resources program as alternate ways to get your foot in the door or opportunities to learn and feel Soldiers and identify if that's the place where you want to grow your career. So a few of the roles that we have identified include our registered dietitian, genetics counselor. Both of these positions, you'll see, would require that additional requirement in terms of further education. However, these would fit within the hospital setting. We also have, of course, our medical lab technologist, medical radiation technology, again, those additional requirements to meet in those specific positions. We have then our further roles that are less prescribed. Looks as though you would require a regulated health profession designation. However, these roles specifically are clinical informatics specialists and our quality experience leaders are ones where you get to apply your research as well as identifying best practice for the various roles and projects and quality improvement within the organization. We also have positions related to infection control and prevention. And as I mentioned earlier, quality experience leaders roles, all a great diverse positions across the organization where skills can be applied and you can make a real difference both in the organization, but to our patients and those who we serve, including our patients and our families. And then we did want to highlight, we do take a number of students throughout the year at Soldiers. We are working through a project currently regarding our student experience. And while we don't have the best data at the moment, we're really working towards that data-driven information to help support us in identifying the number of students that we have in the organization and how we can translate those individuals into our workforce, how they can become part of our team, as well as grow and develop their career here at OSMH. And then just the technical pieces in terms of how to apply. We do have a website where we do list all of our current job opportunities. We do participate in Canada Summer Jobs. So those opportunities will be posted on our same website should there be any specific student opportunities that do become available. As well, as I mentioned earlier, and any of that hands-on experience or that opportunity to feel the culture at OSMH through volunteering, through student experience, would be a great benefit to anyone who's looking to join Soldiers. And then this just takes you through some of the technical pieces in terms of setting up a profile. You can set up career alerts if there are specific types of roles that you're interested in, that will come automatically to your email, and you'll be notified of those types of jobs that are available. And then, of course, you can connect with us on any of our social media platforms. More than welcome to connect with us through our people services team. I can share that information as well. But again, on our OSMH website, you can find that direct email or information to more about our team and what we have to offer here at Soldiers. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Debbie and Sarah. And now I would turn it over to our audience. If you have any questions for any of our guests, feel free to unmute yourself, or if you want, you can drop it in the chat and we will get to it for you. Right, and now while the audience is thinking, I'm going to kick off the conversation by asking a question of my own, which would actually be that what's one piece of advice that you would give to our students who are thinking about, going into this career path? What's that one bit that you would offer them?
So I guess I could go first. Yeah, so I would say the main advice, I would just say keep trying. Keep asking questions about what you're interested in. For example, if you're interested in working at this park, but you're not sure if it's open, just ask questions and keep asking, because that way you'll know for sure and you won't have to kind of guess what's happening. So I would say that's my one piece of advice. Just keep asking.
Thank you so much.
Perhaps I'll add to that. So absolutely ask questions. I think people find it daunting to get into a hospital, and it's not as daunting as you think. So I think to allay any fears, have an information interview. Feel free to reach out to us in people services and say, you know what? I don't know what I don't know, but I do know I'm interested in working in the hospital. I just don't know what that looks like. Can you help me unpack that? No problem. We'll give you 15 minutes without a doubt, because at some point in time, you will either be a patient at our hospital or hopefully an employee. And within our community, it's important for us to share. So feel free to reach out and ask questions, because that exploration in itself helps you understand what the art of the possible is in terms of what a role could be.
Thank you so much, Debbie. If anyone has, again, just a shout out to our audience, if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Meanwhile, I am going to follow it up with another question, which would be, what's a common misconception that people often have about working in your field?
So I would say at Parks Canada, it's probably the fact that when people do see us at the park or the site, the first kind of interaction they have is with the visitor experience position. So they think maybe we're just there to, to ask for money or to sell you something. Now that really is just the front lines. But really, there is so much happening behind the scenes. So there are, for every one person you see that is helping you in the park environment, there are 20 people studying something behind, doing some type of conservation project that you might not be aware of. And as park interpreters, like my position was to really share that with the public, to let them know what was happening behind the scenes, because I think a lot of people don't know that, oh, there's water analysis going on, there's eDNA analysis happening, and a lot of people don't know about those scientific research things that are happening behind the scenes to help us better protect those parks and those environments. So I'd say that's probably the one thing I can think of right now.
Thank you so much, Marta. Sarah, I see Sarah has unmuted herself.
Yeah, I can, it's similar to Marta. I think for us, it's, there's a lot of positions and careers here at a hospital outside of the standard what people often think, your doctors, your nurses. There's a whole team in behind. Yes, you see them here while you're here with yourself seeking care or potentially a family member, but there's so many others behind the scenes that are supporting those frontline team members. And to be able to be a part of that and to influence and support those team members who are providing the care to our patients and their families is very rewarding, and is something that I think a lot of people might not think about, is all those other aspects that are in behind those traditional caregiver roles that you see.
I see Jessica has raised her hand. Jessica, go ahead.
Thank you to all of our panelists for spending this time with us and helping us explore the opportunities to use science in an applied way after school. I guess my question is for each of you about your own career paths. When you think about your own career paths and a time when you had to make a decision that was going to affect a change in your life, how did you go about making that decision? And what was the change? And how did you decide what to do professionally?
I'm happy to start on that one. So I'm reflecting and preparing for today. I was thinking about my own journey as a student and moving into my career. So I was at a crossroads at the time. I finished my post-secondary degree in psychology and really struggling with what was coming next. So I really took the time to evaluate the various programs that I was interested in and what fit best for me. And it was from there I took the opportunity to take some hands-on learning and looked for a program where I would be able to apply my skills, apply some of those pieces that I'd be able to take into the next step and the next part of my career. So that program for me was a postgrad in human resources. And from there, I had a placement at Soldiers. So I'm very proud to say I had my student placement here. I have been here for 15 years and am now the director of people services here at OSMH. So that speaks to, I think, both my drive and my willingness and wanting to try and to continue my personal growth, but it also speaks to the culture of the organization and that alignment with my own personal values and why that's kept me here at Soldiers. So that would be my example, and just, taking the information that you can, reflect on your own personal self, what's important to you, and then try and make that decision that feels right in the moment.
And probably add to that, I think maybe Sarah and I have had similar journeys into HR. So it was a crossroads and an opportunity when I did my undergrad at Waterloo, and I was doing co-op placements. And I was doing the typical placements because I thought I was going to be a sociologist, because that was it. Originally, it was a social worker. Yep, that changed. I thought to myself, sociologist, that sounds really great. Not exactly sure what job I'll get from that, but that's okay. So I had an opportunity to do a number of work terms so that by the time I graduated with my degree, I almost had 2 years of practical work experience. And my goodness, that served me really, really well. Oh, yours is in sociology too. Oh, we have stories to talk about. Let's do that. So I was fortunate enough to do a co-op term with the Public Service Commission of Canada in Ottawa. And it was as a recruitment specialist. I didn't even know what that was. And that's how I actually forged into HR and realized that there is a distinct alignment in terms of wanting to be a social worker or a sociologist and understanding and helping people, and how that marries with human resources. At that time, I really didn't know what it was. And it was that co-op experience that took a pivot for me, so that when I graduated, like Sarah, I took my postgrad certificates for my CHRM, all of those, and really started to weave in the practice of understanding people. It was just done in a different way than I thought traditionally. And another piece of, I guess, guidance I would say is explore. Your path is not going to be completely linear, and don't expect it to be, because you might miss out on some really cool opportunities. My entire career in HR has been directionally HR, but I've been fortunate to have other business opportunities aligned with my HR portfolio. In fact, I've not had an HR portfolio in isolation. So currently at the hospital, I'm quite lucky that not only do I lead human resources, but I also lead quality. As a non-clinician and a layperson who's newer to healthcare, and quality includes interprofessional practice, risk, patient safety, quite interesting. And so, like Sarah, you go into a career, and I would say be open to the possibilities. But one of the cool things I will say about a hospital like Soldiers that you think is very fixed and focused only on one direction, we are very much about opportunity and allowing people to share their gifts and to learn along the way. And I think that's pretty neat, especially in the years that we have.
Those are amazing responses. Thank you both so much for that, Sarah and Debbie. Marta, anything from your career trajectory, a time where you had to make a change or like try something new or different? What was it? How did you approach it? What would you advise people making a change?
Yeah, so I'm probably the epitome of change, I would say. And I love what both of those presenters had just said, because my path was definitely not linear. I did after high school, I did a degree as a veterinary technician. So I was involved mostly with that. But then I wanted to go on to higher education. So then I did a bachelor in biology. I knew I wanted to do something like that. And then I stopped for a bit. Then I did my master's in education. I was trying out so many different things, and I had the opportunity to do that, which was really great. But and then afterwards I went into teaching, loved teaching, love it. But I found that for me, the biggest change from teaching to parks was the fact that I could work outside, the fact that I could work more with the environment and the public, and really feel like for me that was the place that I wanted to be. So it was kind of an introspection. It was kind of a, where do I really see myself being, and where can I see myself growing? So I really felt like the shift was it was a big shift from teaching to the field, kind of. But I wouldn't change anything because it was such a great, once I got there, I felt very encouraged. And then just the support that Parks Canada places in trying out different opportunities, shadowing different people in different ways. It's amazing what kind of opportunities there are. So it's kind of an introspection when you make that shift, but it's also, where do you see yourself? And so that's really where I put my focus.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to all our panelists. Now, I actually have another question, and given the diversity within our panelists as well as your responses, I'd love to know about this. Now, what would you say, like, how does a typical day in your job looks like?
So I can't, sorry, I didn't know if I should go, but yeah. Um, so, okay, so in my position as a public outreach and education officer, it varies completely. So one day I can be working fully online and preparing for events or opportunities, making different engagement pieces for the public. The other day I could be presenting like this online. Another day I could be at an event, such as we were just at Heritage Day in Ottawa, where we were talking about some of our national historic sites. So it really, there's so many different opportunities in this position. Now, speaking more, I'm thinking resource conservation or as a heritage presenter in the field, it will differ as well. You'll have days where you're really in the field the whole day, doing some surveying or, canoeing to a certain location and doing some research. And then other days you could be listening to different frog sounds on the computer or things like that, making data entry. So what's really nice is that it's very diverse and it's very balanced. It's not like the whole day you're hiking every day. It really is, you have a balance. So it really depends on the position that you're in, and depends what they kind of need to fulfill in that position.
Yeah, I was smiling when I heard that question. So much like Marta, I can say for myself, and then Sarah can chime in. I have no idea what's going to hit me from one day to the next. And that's probably because of the breadth of the portfolio, which I think is quite cool. That said, it's quite daunting because you have to pivot quite a lot. So sometimes I'll be dealing with a patient incident, sometimes a staff incident, sometimes I'm designing a program. But the one thing I do try to do is spend a lot of time with my team. And I think in the role that I'm lucky to have, I spend a lot of time trying to coach and being there and being present for my team. And if not, then walking around the hospital and making sure that I'm listening to learn, because in this function of HR, you don't just sit at a desk and type and push out a program. In this hospital, it's important to understand what people need and what people want. And that's by engaging with them and going right out into the front line and really appreciating what they do. So that's about a glimmer of what my day might look like.
Mine's very similar to Debbie in terms of not really knowing what's happening day to day. Of course, you have your standard meetings, things like that that you're dealing with, but with leading a team, it's variable and very people focused, right? So the day may ebb and flow depending on what the need is of the organization at the time. And we deal with the public and various pressure points coming in through our emergency department. So with my portfolio, I oversee occupational health and safety, human resources, and staffing and scheduling. So with that, we are very people focused, but we're also supporting then the patient side of things. We're ensuring that there's enough staff here every day. And if there's not, what's our plan? How are we going to support? And it's a lot of change that occurs. And I think you have to be comfortable with change and being able to pivot and know that you're doing the best you can for those working, again, as I say, on the front line, but also for those patients and families that we're serving.
Thank you so much. Oh, sorry. I thought there was another question in the chat. Never mind. So I will actually ask a question again, which would be my final question, unless someone in the audience wants to chime in. Now, we see that the industry is constantly changing. So from your perspective, how do you see, the fields that you're respectively in transforming in the next couple of years, and how do you think our students can better prepare themselves for it?
Well, I think year to year at Parks Canada, things do change a little bit. We have different things that we focus on year to year to see what is the best investment. But it really is hard to predict. It's year to year, it changes, and we only know when the next year happens. So I'd say we will never stop presenting and protecting our national parks and national historic sites. So we will always be there to do that research that is needed, or to help create a great visitor experience. That will always remain stable. But yes, there can be different projects that have been highlighted at different points in time. So it can change year to year a little bit.
I would say for the hospital, much like Parks Canada, we're going nowhere. Everyone will need to utilize the services of a hospital. However, what we've been seeing and will probably continue to see is that there's higher acuity of our patients, meaning that they're coming in with more complex needs than they were in prior years. We're also in an aging community in Aurelia, and that continues to be so. And so what it does is it does put a bit of a strain on your healthcare system in your hospital, because the needs for those that are older is vastly different than perhaps those that are younger. So there's that complexity. Plus, our hospital is probably too small for the services that are demanded of us to deliver, coupled with a shortage, as we all know, with physicians, makes it much more complex to be able to provide the care that people deserve to have in a safe and compassionate way. So over the next few years, we continue to advocate and to lobby, obviously to government, to help us around a new hospital, to help us around opening up more educational seats for those areas of staffing that we actually need to see to grow that employee base for the future to address the demands that we're having from our patient population and along with the diversity of that. So I think those are a few things for us to look at. And then within the dynamics of the hospital and the work, digitization is becoming more and more critical, right? And or the use of AI. So how you write a script, how you do medical notes, things like that. So I think that as students are continuing to learn, diversifying out their skills in terms of understanding digital and appreciation of change management and program management or project management are very key towards our future in terms of what, not where we need to be, but where we have to go.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll give one last shout out to our audience. If you have any questions, this is the time you'd want to unmute yourself. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share with our panelists, feel free to do that as well. And now, while we're waiting on that, I'd like to take a minute to thank all our lovely panelists for taking time to share their valuable insights. It's much appreciated. I'm sure our students learned a lot today. I know I did. Just learning about the diverse opportunities that are out there, it's incredible. And I'm sure that we're all taking something back with us today. So thank you so much. I would like to take a second to remind our students again that this is part of our larger career exploration series, and we are yet to have a couple of more events coming up, as well as a workplace tour opportunity that I would highly encourage everyone to sign up for. We also have what is the Career Exploration Toolkit, which has activities and resources that can help you to kind of better navigate your next steps in your career path. And this toolkit, along with today's recording, will be emailed to all our folks who have registered. And yeah, thank you so much. If anyone has any final thoughts, feel free to unmute yourself. And yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. This was awesome.